I am bullish about crypto. I always believe that 2025 will be a better year than 2024, right? So if you look at past crypto cycle, normally the market starts to warm up around the mark of 160 days after Bitcoin halving, right? So I think today we're at 150, 152 days. Well, this is a very busy week in Singapore with Token 2049, Milken, and then subsequently the Formula One race, right? It's always good to be back. I'm a Singaporean, this is home for me, so it's always good to be home. But around the token event, we have many meetings with potential partners, people that's strong believer in the crypto ecosystem and the Web3 ecosystem. So together we're looking forward to how to continue to work very closely with everyone to support this very innovative sector in terms of its growth.
I wanted to ask, what are the takeaways and key highlights from the fireside chat you had? What can you share for those who couldn't participate in that?
I think a few things. Firstly, we continue to grow very quickly, and we're very thankful to our users around the world for their support. Today we have 225 million users. The first 100 million users took us 5 years, second 100 million users took us 2 years, and the next 100 million will take us a much faster period of time. So then you see the rapid growth of adoption in crypto, right? 2024 is a landmark year because more and more regulators are coming on stream to start regulating this space, about 1/3 globally now. And secondly, if you look at institutional adoption, is beginning, right? So when the likes of BlackRock, Fidelity, and many others started to roll ETFs on things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and they started to be approved not in the States, but in Hong Kong, Canada, Australia, Brazil. That shows that this sector is slowly going mainstream. We are still in a very early day, 5 to 6% crypto adoption, and blockchain together with AI will form the infrastructure layer of most economic sectors going forward, right? From real estate to supply chain to financial services, and the list goes on. So the best and brightest are in this space. If you look at data of young adults, most of them have their first investment in crypto before any other asset class. So the young adults are holding a lot of crypto. And young adults determine the future, how the future landscape looks like. So we are bullish of our deployment. We are the most regulated exchange now globally. We have 19 regulatory approval. The latest being in India, which is one of the very important crypto market. And just before that, we announced Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Thailand, Dubai in the earlier part of the year. So we continue to work very closely globally with policymakers, regulators, our partners to support crypto adoption and growth globally.
So I want to dive into your crypto journey. Can you tell us a bit about how you got into crypto and what ultimately led you to your current role at Binance?
So I get to know of crypto around March of 2017. So I attend an annual conference in Boca Raton, Florida. It's called the Futures Industry Association meeting, and that's where most of the regulators, key regulators around the world, key exchanges around the world attend that, right? So I was wearing a previous hat where I was the CEO of Abu Dhabi Global Market, which is a regulator. And at that 2017 edition, there are a lot of crypto boys starting to come through, giving talks, and that got me intrigued, right? So the more I do background research into this sector, I firmly believe that this is going to be the future of finance. But for it to work, you need, firstly, clearer regulations so that users know what's our protection they can be accorded. Platforms like ourselves know what's the parameters that we can operate within. And then secondly, you need institution adoption, right? So unlike all the other asset class that ran from institutions to corporates to high net worth and then retail subsequently, crypto is the only asset class that was embraced by retail, and for the longest time, other parts of the equation think that it's a passing fad, you'll go away. So regulators were not spending time, institutions were not spending time on this sector, right? So right about 2018, when I was CEO of ADGM, we introduced one of the first global regulations to govern the crypto space, right? to really support the growth of this space while managing the risk aspect of it. That's my first experience with crypto. And then I'm not the sort of regulator that regulate banks but don't have a bank account, right? You're not credible enough. So at that point in time, I've opened crypto accounts with centralized exchange, started trading, started to get my feet wet into this sector and get to know much more, right? So in 2021, after I step off as a regulator in EDGM, I have an introduction to CZ, who was then in Singapore. And he invited me to join the team at Binance. So I joined Binance in August of 2021.
Perfect. And it's been nearly 1 year since you took over the CEO role of Binance. What can you share with us about your experience during this period, and what have been the highlights and the challenges so far?
Well, so I'm very grateful and very humbled that CZ and the rest of the co-founders invited me to take up this role. Very grateful for all their support. I am also very privileged that I have a very strong management team working alongside me to really focus on our mission and then supporting deployment globally, right? So we always place user first. We keep building the best platform out there in terms of product features, in terms of robustness, resilience, security, to really support our global users wherever they are. And then secondly, we invest heavily into compliance. So other than being user first, we're also a compliance first exchange. And we intend to use that investments, which we have the ability to do so, as a competitive advantage. So in 2022, our compliance spend was $158 million US. Last year, that figure went up to $213 million US. This year, the spending will go up even more, right? So today we have a compliance headcount of about 530, and that will go up to close to 700 before the end of the year. So you can see that we continue to invest heavily into many different areas, into our product development, our operational resilience, our security, our compliance, right? To really build a best-in-class sustainable platform to support users wherever they are.
Just curious, when was the last time you spoke with CZ, and do you still get a chance to communicate with him? And do you know how he's holding up during this challenging period?
I don't speak to CZ so often. So again, I think the landscape has shifted. So when CZ was running the enterprise as founder CEO, it was a different landscape, right? So since I took over, the company has become more corporatized, right? So now it's a board-led enterprise. So we have a board of 7 members. A lot of them firm believers into the Web3 space with Web2 experience. So we work very closely with our board of directors to really chart the path of growth for Binance, the strategic deployment going forward. So I work very closely with our board of directors on that front.
Mm-hmm. So, and CZ has been a central figure to Binance's growth and the crypto space in general. Was it difficult to, so to say, step into his shoes?
I believe that nobody can step into CZ's shoes, right? So he's a giant of the industry. He was one of the key pioneers. And he has cemented, right, his legend in this industry. So I don't think anybody can step into his shoes. I don't aspire towards that front. But what we, as a management team and board of directors, aim to do is continue to build the best-in-class platform out there, a very sustainable growth, and provide our users with the best features that's reliable, that is operating 24/7 without hiccups on that front. And that is very important. And, you know, throughout the course of this year, we continue to roll out new features from Super Earn to Mega Drop to Binance Square to Web3 wallet enhancement to copy trading, and the list goes on, right? So we continue to foster innovation on that front while we continue to invest in so many other important parts of the business.
So with CZ's legal challenges and upcoming release from his prison sentence, what lessons has Binance learned from this chapter? And how will this experience shape Binance's regulatory approach moving forward?
I think it's important to highlight that we have acknowledged our past mistakes as an organization. We paid very heavy penalty. CZ personally has paid a very heavy penalty on that front. As with all financial institutions around the world, if you look at institutions that are decades, centuries old, they will still stumble on rules and regulations from time to time, including on things like money laundering provisions, etc. Binance is a 7-year-old enterprise. It's a very, very young enterprise, right? So we learn from that mistakes. That's the most important part. We paid a heavy penalty. We use ourselves as an example to the rest of the industry to say that, look, we have learned from this lesson and we are making huge investments into the compliance space to make sure that we do much better in terms of the journey forward. And the journey forward is one where you have more rules and regulations coming forward. We are fortunate that we have the financial ability to invest very heavily into this space. So we intend to make that as a competitive advantage for ourselves as we continue to deploy globally. By now, we are the most regulated exchange globally, and we continue to support our users in terms of their crypto journey. And we look forward to our users having continued faith and confidence in what we are doing. And we are very thankful for their support.
I want to talk about the recent listing on Binance. With the recent listing of Nairo, Binance saw the market cap of one Nairo token jump by 700% within 24 hours, followed by a significant drop. With this volatility combined with concerns over insider trading, confusion between multiple Nairo tokens has raised questions about the listing process. How does Binance plan to improve this transparency and protect retail investors from the risks associated with such dramatic price fluctuations?
So I think firstly, we have a very stringent process when it comes to listing, right? So we have set up those criteria for any projects that wish to be listed. They can contact the team. We sheltered our internal team from any external influence. Binance, by virtue of our ecosystem, many people want to get listing on Binance. But as you can see from our listing policy, we are one of the most stringent among all the exchanges in terms of new listings, right? So let me stress on that point. We look at a variety of factors from, who are the project owners, the sponsors, to the technology innovation, to community engagement, to security, compliance issue, etc., etc. So there's a multitude of factors that we consider, right, at any point in time. So that is important. We do not tolerate any form of market manipulation or market integrity issues. If there are allegations, we will investigate into them and take strong actions on those things, right? So we want to make sure that users have the confidence that we always place users' interests first. And in that regard, our trading policy imposed on staff is much more stringent than what most regulators impose and what other traditional financial institutions impose. So we have very, very stringent provisions on that front, and we will not hesitate to take strong actions against anyone that contravenes our policies on that front.
So I want to talk about Nigeria. Binance has faced significant issues in Nigeria throughout the year 2024. Authorities have accused the exchange of contributing to the country's foreign exchange crisis and illegal capital outflows. Could you shed some light on why Binance's operations in Nigeria attracted such intense scrutiny and how these issues escalated?
I think firstly, it's very important to highlight that our staff, Tigran, is unjustly detained in Nigeria. He is a functional expert. He's a financial crime expert for people that knows him. His passion in life is to fight all these financial crime activities, right? He was invited to Nigeria as a functional expert. He's unjustly detained. Since then, his health has deteriorated greatly. He's in great pain. He has herniated disc, can't walk properly. He's not getting proper medical care, right? So we have appealed to the Nigerian government to release Tigran on humanitarian grounds. Right? We have also, Tigran is a US citizen, right? So our greatest wish now is the US government designate him as unjustly detained in Nigeria and get his release soon, right? So that he can go home, get proper medical care, and be reunited with his family. If there's any dispute by any corporates with any governments, policymakers around the world, we are responsible corporate citizens. So we have resolved disputes around the world on that front, right? Be it in the US, in Brazil, India. There's really no need to detain any of our staff or any staff of any corporates for that reason, if you have a disagreement or you have outstanding issues to resolve, because it sets an extremely bad precedent for the country, right? The safety of staff is extremely important, right? So I think corporates around the world, including both in the traditional space as well as in the crypto space, are looking at this very closely. So we continue to appeal to the Nigerian government to release Tigran. What we hope to do is, in a future world, when this is resolved, that we can work hand in hand to really support a very vibrant Web3 ecosystem in Nigeria, right? So that's our aspiration and wish. But in the short term, the top priority is to release Tigran. I have released data on my blog as well, right? I've tweeted on some of this to say that, there are various allegations and they are unfounded, unproven. There are allegations on us being one of the factors that caused the Naira to fall. Again, we exited in February. In January, Naira was $1 to 880 Naira. Today it stands at more than 1,600, right? So, economic expert will explain to you why depreciation in currency happens, right? So again, even if there are outstanding disagreement, let's resolve that with us at the corporate level and let Tigran go home.
Wishing you the best of luck with that process.
Thank you.
It's been a significant year for crypto with particularly ETF approvals this year. Just curious, what's your take on how 2024 is shaping the future of crypto? And do you think institutional money entering crypto will bring down volatility?
Well, the issue that we face with institution coming in, and is a good problem, is over time, with more allocations and more liquidity, more user base, the market capitalization of crypto into crypto will continue to grow. As you know, a larger market capitalization will result in slightly less volatility over time, right? So I think that's the first one. Second point, I am bullish about crypto. I always believe that 2025 will be a better year than 2024, right? So if you look at past crypto cycle, normally the market starts to warm up around the mark of 160 days after Bitcoin halving, right? So I think today we're at 150, 152 days, some time to go. So because it's a demand and supply issue, right, for Bitcoin on that front. But I think if you look at several other parameters, the reason why I'm bullish is firstly, compared to a few years ago, now you have clearer regulations, right? Which will result in more users entering this space. I've highlighted the growth in our user numbers continue to grow exponentially. Secondly, institutions coming into this space, right? Many of them buy and hold, they are long-term holders. So they'll add another dimension to the liquidity and the clientele in this space, right? Which is net positive for the industry going into the future. If you look at crypto VCs, crypto investors, they continue to raise funds, investing into very interesting, innovative projects for the future. And this will continue to drive the use cases and utility of crypto going forward. And it's for this variety of reasons that I'm very bullish about the sector. And we continue to deploy for that bullishness. I mentioned that we're going to recruit another 1,000 staff throughout the course of this year, before the end of this year, to really support that global crypto deployment.
Fantastic. Do you think the presidential elections in the United States will affect crypto? Like, do you think either one of the parties will have a higher chance affecting the crypto markets?
I think the fact that crypto has become an agenda item during the presidential election, not only in the States, if you think about it, but in many countries around the world, right? It has come out as a conversational topic, as an issue. How do governments support the growth of crypto sector? Again, I mentioned together with AI, they form the infrastructure of future economic sectors. The fact that it has come up as an important subject matter in itself is significant. It shows the growing influence of crypto, and is a testament of the growing importance of this particular sector, right? So again, we are watching that with keen interest, like many others around the world are. But what we are focusing on is really building a strong, sustainable platform for the future.
What bold predictions do you have for the future of crypto and DeFi looking forward? You said 2025 will be a bullish year. So I'd love to hear some like interesting metrics, data points, numbers if you can bring out. I want to hear like what's Richard thinking about the future? What are the bold predictions you have?
I don't have bold predictions. I don't have a crystal ball to make those predictions. And so I will not err on that side. But what we at Binance are really focusing on is building a very strong, sustainable platform, right? To support our user journey, to support global crypto adoption, which is still at a relatively low rate now, 5 to 6%. And that growth will be quite exponential going forward for all the different reasons that I mentioned. And to work with global partners around the world to really support this sector. So the more we can work together as an industry, as an ecosystem, getting more use cases and deployment, the better off the entire industry will be. So we are focused on those areas.
Is there anything you'd like to share that we haven't covered yet? Any final remarks or any like upgrades or like products that you're building at Binance?
We keep pushing forth with innovation, right? So we'll continue to do a lot of product development, tech innovation on that front. As and when they're ready, we'll roll it out to users. We encourage our users to engage us. I mean, we have a very strong community on that front that engage us. They're very supportive of Binance, and we are very thankful on that front. So we always encourage our users, our communities, our angels, right? If there's any feedback on areas that you think we should improve upon, there are things that you want to see, things that you need, engage us. We have channels for those engagement, and we take those feedback very seriously. We evaluate them and try to roll them out as and when they're ready.
Well, it was great to speak with you, Richard. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.